Hey, darling.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Pride podcast.
Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo.
Hi, gays. Welcome to Las Vegas Pride Podcast, a podcast featuring Las Vegas Pride, our community here in Las Vegas, and the greater community at large.
Celebrating community, unity, and all of the above.
Join us and let's start the show. Welcome everybody back to our podcast channel. It's me, Meliton, again for you guys here, and I have here with me Jim McCoy, our amazing Queen Mother of Las Vegas. Was before Mr. Las Vegas Pride for how many years?
A long time.
Like 3?
2.5, 3, 4, just depends.
So if you guys don't know, he's actually our Auntie Norma. So you guys usually normally see him as Auntie Norma, but
Right.
would you like to introduce a little bit about yourself to the audience?
Oh, I thought you were going to do that.
I did that
You just
part.
can't remember all the names.
I can remember all the titles.
Hi, I'm Jim McCoy. I'm Jim McCoy. I'm officially the Development and Outreach Director for Las Vegas Pride. I've been involved with Las Vegas Pride for a long, long time. Moved to Las Vegas in the late 90s, and I was involved then, here, there, and everywhere. It's a pleasure to be here with you,
Well,
Meliton.
It's my pleasure.
Several years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I got back involved with Pride, and I heard they might need royalty. And they asked me, and I said, as long as my husband and I can do it together. So we became Mr. and Mrs. Las Vegas Pride, officially 2020, I think. And we came to 25 and 26 until we get new blood in. And that's when we officially said, don't need a title, just make me Queen Mother. That's my alter ego, Norma. So, but Jim is here now. Timid, shy, calm Jim.
And I do need to say that thank you so much for being here. First of
Thank
all.
you for having me.
And for me, it was from the beginning since I got involved to Pride. You are one of that main person who I knew I can go for. Like if I need any help, that was always you. If I needed any advice, how to do something, it's been you from the beginning.
There you go.
So I'm really grateful for all of the helps I get from you guys, from you and Derek together, and how to do this Mr. Las Vegas Pride.
And I told you that from the beginning. No clue who you were, the cute little twink with the accent. But I said from the beginning, and that's me being in the community for so long, because I'm old. I'm just turned 59, believe it or not.
21.
It's a surprise.
He just turned
But
21.
I think it's very important for those who've been in the community to let the young'uns know we're here. You know, I'm not going to write you a check for $1,500 and say, here's for your rent and your food. I'm going to say, get a second job. But no matter what in the community, you have to support those who are following in your footsteps.
And you guys doing an amazing job with that, and I'm really
Thank you.
grateful for it.
Thank you.
And as a person who's been involved with Pride for lots of times, a long time, we can say that. What do you think? How has it changed the community from since you've been really involved, and what are those new challenges we face actually? Or maybe the same challenges just coming back again? What
Wow.
you guys been already been fought for?
12 questions in one.
Of course, it's a continuous question.
I don't think that our queer community has changed. We've adapted. First and foremost, we've adapted to technology. Because in my day, we didn't have a personal device. We had a phone that stayed at the house, and we went out socially to meet people. That has changed our community. Las Vegas is a hard town to be queer in because it's very transient. There's people coming and going. We are a resort town. We are a holiday town. We still have a good community here. But I think the queer community has pretty much stayed the same, but we've had to adapt to the world, the craziness that's in the world now. Everyone's had to adapt to it, but I think we've adapted to technology. It's a good thing and a bad thing. Our cell phones are probably one of the best and worst things that were invented. And I say worst things because I love the movie WALL-E. If you don't know it, watch it, because in 100 years, 200 years, that's going to happen. We are so involved with our phones. And that's where I think our community is hurting right now, because a lot of people no longer have the social skills. They have social skills on their phone, which you can write in all caps and like I do so I can read them. But it's a different world now. But I think pride, no matter what, no matter where you live, is still very important. But the world has changed. Some people don't think we need to have a pride festival or a pride parade anymore because more than 1 out of every 10 is in the queer community. Well, that number has changed. I heard recently about 2.5 out of every 10. And 0.5 are those who don't identify. And I accept that. But there, I hope I answered all your 7 questions.
Yes, you did. And to your point, actually, I just saw it today. So I wanted to bring it up because about those comments and people making it, that we don't need pride anymore. Like, why do we need pride? Why do we need the festival? Actually, today, it came out with the news that Tennessee passed a law in the Tennessee House of Representatives. So it's not a law yet because it's need to have approved by the Senate, that they want to allow discrimination of LGBTQ same-sex marriage couples to be legalized. So you can say, I don't want to do this marriage. I don't want to serve you because it's a gay marriage, same-sex marriage. So these are happening still, but happened, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago when people were still fighting with this. So people need to understand that these are not, oh, everybody, it's legal and you can do whatever you want and nobody try to fight you anymore. Actually, there are legislations still going on to try to oppress us and take away our rights. So what's your thoughts about that?
I have a lot of thoughts about that. So first and foremost, our world maybe 10 years ago, when the man who is in charge now, or who thinks he's in charge now, was first in office, created this world of hate and distrust and just insanity. That's when I felt a lot more hate happening. You have to think about, I love Tennessee. I grew up in Ohio. We went to Kentucky and Tennessee a lot. Beautiful people in Tennessee. Beautiful, beautiful state. However, it's run by a lot of very old, red, white men. Old white men. And they're still full of fire and brimstone and their crazy Christianity, that's what I'm going to say. It's crazy Christianity, is affecting a lot of things. Let them do the law. Let them do the law. If you don't want to give me a cake for my husband and I's anniversary, I don't want to shop with you. I don't want to spend my dollars at your business. It's a two-way thing. I don't want to force someone who owns a privately owned business, a small business. I don't want to force them to go outside of their beliefs. Their beliefs I respect. I might not have to agree with them, but I respect that they have the right to have those beliefs. I won't shop there. I won't shop there. Case in point, I won't shop there. I'll go someplace else. If I have to go down to a big corner store and get a generic cake, I'll do that before I will go to someone and have them hate who I am. I respect that they hate me. I don't have to agree with it, but that's their right. Like I have a right to not shop there. It's sad, but I know this too shall pass, that our world is becoming more, our United States, thanks to Benito, I no longer call it America, because America, as most of us know, is not just the United States. Yeah. It's a lot more than that. But the United States will soon have very few old white men running the country. And not saying that they're just going to fly away. They're going to age out, whether it's death, whether it's retirement, they will soon go away. And we will get the powerhouses, we will get the Kamalas and the Crockett's, and I'm 100% for women moving into everything. My mother ran the household I grew up with, and my dad was an incredible giver and provider. But my mother ran the house. That's how I grew up. My grandmother ran her household. My grandfather was an incredible man, but I grew up with that. I grew up with the women in charge, and nothing against men being in charge, but it's equal rights across the way. We are all humans at the end of the day. So back to your point, let them do what they got to do, because no matter what, there's going to be some crazy bugs that are going to get on the fly strip that are not flies, and we got to deal with it. I don't know what that meant, but when I hear stuff like that, I think of a fly strip that once it's full, we're going to throw it away and start anew.
And I agree with that. You are more of a acceptance person. I'm more of a let's fight this argument. But that comes from my political science try to get degree and my constitutional rights classes. And I do not think that it would pass a constitutional threshold of discrimination, any of those laws, even if it's get there. But sometimes the problem by lawmaking wise putting it to that point. I actually had a class about it. Sometimes people do things what we know that it's illegal all the way across. For example, Trump's attempt to take away the citizenship. Everybody know that it's going to be illegal, but the mechanism what they use, it's interesting. They make sure that they do something, but it's completely against the law, because they're waiting for someone to sue that. Because once it gets sued, it's gonna get denied by the appeal court. It's gonna be they're gonna tell those people that it's wrong. They want it to go up to the Supreme Court, because if once it goes up to the Supreme Court, who knows what's gonna happen? Because they make some crazy decisions. But in this case scenario, I think they're doing a wrong thing in the same time, because Tennessee should learn from what happened a couple of months ago. The Supreme Court already decided that they're not gonna pick up anything where it's LGBTQIA+. They already decided on it. Marriages stay legal every state, doesn't matter what crazy conservative people are trying to push. So I think they should learn the lesson to not try to do anything, because the Supreme Court is just going to say the same thing.
So to your point, I think a lot of what's happening now is to push buttons. Remember the Facebook poke the bear?
Yes.
Everything that situation that's happening is pushing buttons. Where's our focus on healthcare? Where's our focus on children and nutrition and education? Where's our focus on our seniors? Where's our focus on our retired veterans?
Or where is the focus on pedophiles?
That's another whole.
I need to bring it up there. We kind of forget about them.
And that's all included with it. So they're doing things like, oh, let's rename the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, let's distract people over here. Let's do this. They're just poking to distract us from what's actually happening. Do we know what's actually happening? I have no idea. I watch the news. I get disgruntled. I don't let it make me get angry, because that anger does not do me any good. I go out every day here in the community, and I am very blessed that I live on the west side of Las Vegas. I have every ethnicity I can find, and I love that. But Tennessee is a different world. The Midwest, certain areas of the South are different worlds. I moved out of that, and I'm glad I did, because I kind of opened my gate and opened my world. When my career was in full swing, my art department had at least 15 different languages. I was floored. And it was amazing to meet people who have a different background from myself. I'm a boring little Methodist from the country in Ohio, but to talk to people from the Philippines and some of the dialects and their culture and their history, they're still 100% Americans, United States citizens. That gave me an intellect to what the world is all about. These things that are happening in Tennessee and other states, I do believe it's part of the culture within those communities and I don't want to say they're narrow-minded, but sometimes to keep the rose-colored glasses on for them is a safety net. I respect that. I don't agree with it, but they got to be safe in their little zone. Every time I travel back to visit family in Ohio, there's a safety little zone that they're all in. I hate it. I have to, kind of reduce the energy that I give out, because I don't want it to affect me mentally. I plan before I go home to visit. I kind of get myself in a mode, and I'm in my protective mode, because the environment's not a open, expressive environment. So let them try to do what they got to do. It'll take to me, I see the world changing. Yes, we fell in a pothole because of some terrible decisions that a lot of people made. And even though I disagree with, anyhow, I ran on with that one, but that's okay.
No, that's perfect. To that point, what you said, like when you go back to places, especially to Tennessee, and you feel that interesting vibe, but it's not the same what you get used to here. That was a big eye-opening for me when I went back to Hungary the first time a year ago. I've been here in the U.S., I think, this year 10 years, but it was 9 years when I went back. That was the first time I ever went back to Hungary since I moved to the United States. And I'm like, probably it's changed. Probably it's moved away from that old, super Christian, homophobic, actually racist ideologies that mostly dominate Hungary. And I arrived and I had some friends. I do not talk with a lot of people from there anymore, but I had a couple of people who told me, oh, it's changed. Gay people are more accepted. Don't worry about it. And I'm not joking. I arrived, I rented a car. From the airport, I went to the hotel, got my stuff out. I was like, oh, I know this area. I'm going to go out, get a food for myself because I'm hungry. The moment I walked out of the hotel and walked on the street, somebody literally was turned around and started calling the F word for me. And they're like, oh, what is this F doing here? Look at those fucking clothes. And I'm like, wow, it did not change at all. That was zero change. And that's a main city. Yeah. So I'm from Budapest. So that's the main capital. So I can't even imagine how it would be in that country, in the small areas outside of the capital. So places like that, like Tennessee, where the people are this close-minded. And in Hungary, nothing's changed. Yeah. We forget about those things because some of us, members of the LGBTQIA community. Here in Vegas, we are lucky. People who live in California, they are lucky. People who are living in New York, they are lucky. There are states where you kind of start forgetting how every other spaces and places are still fighting for that fundamental right just to walk on the street without somebody say something to you. And that's for our Las Vegas audience. Just sometimes try to be a little bit nicer, try to be a little bit more understanding, because I think we're lacking on that a little bit of facts because we don't see outside of our own little bubbles.
To your experience, and I've experienced that just going to Ohio, I think a lot of the what word I'm looking for, response or reaction that I get as a queer man going back to Ohio, I don't change how I dress. I might be a little more conservative dressed because it's Ohio, it's rural. I don't have to get dressed up a lot. But I think a lot of the response and reaction to me is people fear what they don't know. Look at you. Look at how you're dressed. I'm unfamiliar with this. I'm going to have a reaction to it because a reaction, your first reaction is built on anything, knowledge of who the person is or an intellect. I think that has a lot to do with it. You're in their space. You're an intruder in their space, so they're going to put up that wall and react the way they react, whether it's the F word or look at you all fancy pantsy. Fancy pantsy is the thing in Ohio. Yeah. Well, look at the fancy pants. Yeah, they're nice. They're nice fancy pants. I bought them at Kohl's for $19. But it's a reaction and it's a defense mechanism because they're not sure what's happening. Why are you invading my space? I'm comfortable here. Don't bring that to me. Well, I'm not bringing it to you. I'm in the space. There's a line in a movie called Dirty Dancing, way before your time. But they're dancing.
Hey, I'm not that young. Yeah. I saw Dirty Dancing.
You saw the reruns. This is my dance space. That is your dance space. This is our dance space. And that's how I relate to things a lot. You know, when I go back to rural America, even when I travel, I respect where I'm at. However, my respect also needs respect back. Thank you. I know you're different. Thank you for coming into our environment. And it becomes our dance space. And it's that level of integrity and intelligence that certain areas and people don't have to match what happens. You know, I hear we might be releasing the alien files.
Oh yeah, that's
because
for
a previous president kind of joked and said, "Yeah, there's probably aliens." And next thing you know, we're going to see those files before we'll see the Epstein files. But aliens land here today. Some of us will be like, the aliens are here. Hey, what's going on? Come over, have some coffee. You know, do you drink? Let's, you know, do you want a martini? What do you want? Other people are like, oh no, it's hell and damnation.
Gone.
We read about this. It's reactionary. And if you can get over that, and like the person who called you the F, I would have responded like, that's right, and it's a capital F if you know me, and kept walking. Now I probably would have got beaten.
Yeah.
But
It how good.
I won't shut it down. Case in point. No, it gets emotional for me. I lost my parents in the last 3 years, a year and a half apart. At my dad's memorial, very small little town hall, we had just a celebration of life. Some of the individuals who, I'm going to be very generic, some of the individuals who helped us put out the food and the cookies and the finger sandwiches and the Kool-Aid and the punch and the water. No wine. The wine and the liquor was in my car. But I could hear them talking about me. It was before anybody got there. I was up front setting up the pictures, as you do, in the hall, and I could hear them talking about, well, that's the brother. Oh, he's from Las Vegas. And I heard the word gay. And I was in a good mood, but I was like, I had a little, and here's another Ohio thing, full of piss and vinegar that morning because I'd had way too much coffee. Megan knows. So there I was. I walked into the kitchen. I said, yes, I'm James Robert McCoy, the gay son, and I do live in Las Vegas. Do you have any questions? To these women, these Midwestern women who just turned, and I had to pick their jaws up off the floor because they weren't expecting that. I heard them. I acknowledged them. I accepted what they were saying. They weren't saying anything negative, but there was a tone, and I addressed the tone. The same thing happened at my mother's service about a year and a half later, but it was from an older family member. It was my mom's cousin in her 90s. Made a point to send another relative to me and say, she wants to see you. Okay. I was like, we had a lot of people there, so I made sure. Equal time, equal, you know. When I went to say hi, right away she started in about my Christian beliefs and my spiritual beliefs and how my sinful ways of my lifestyle and how I had to repent and accept Jesus and blah, blah, blah. She was going on. Wonderful old woman. I let her have it in a polite way. My spirituality was more grounded than it had ever been, and I shared her my light, my queer light. And I told her the conversation was over, that she didn't need to go on because I had my beliefs, she had her beliefs. I respected her, but I thanked her for thinking of me, for keeping me in her prayers, whatever that might be. But she didn't stop. She kept going on and on. And I turned around and I said, listen, do you want me to let everyone know what's happening in this conversation? And I was ready to open it up. I wouldn't see half these people. Most of these people will die before I see them again. Because, well, I won't see them again, but they'll go. Because it was, my mom was in her 80s, so a lot of the family is the same age. But I made that point. I am not going to cower down. I'm going to stand proud and strong. There were 3 homosexuals in the room at the time. Everybody only knew there was one, which was me. The other 2, we keep the secret. But I respect that. But I said, do you want me to open this up, to let people know at my mother's memorial that you're condemning me to hell because of your beliefs? I said, you better shut it down now, because I will open it up. And I walked away, and she started following me. I said, do you want me to? And she turned and said, God bless you. And I said, well, God bless you too. But I took the higher road, and I try to do that. Now, there are times that people will throw that negativity to you, and you just don't have the time for it. But you have to address it, because if not, they win. They win.
Yeah, that was that moment when I was surprised about myself in that moment, because here in the US, I'm a big mouth person. You know me. Megan knows me. Everybody knows me.
Never have noticed. We've never noticed.
I pretty much stand up what I believe in, but once I went back and I experienced it, that every childhood trauma what I had, it came out first. So I went back to that automatic defense mechanism of just walking, just don't listen, you don't know what's going to happen. If it would happen here in the United States, oh, you know me, I would raise hell on them. But of course, never happened here. But I learned how to try to react to people. Actually, it happened with my grandmother, who is here right now. And last time when she was here, a year ago, that's when I officially came out to her. She had the weirdest reaction ever, but it was hilarious. She's an old lady, she's Christian, but her first reaction was, is there any medication for it? So I was like, Grandma, this is not a sickness. I love you too.
There is medication. It's usually in a bottle. You add soda water.
I love her to death, but she had that comment on it. But this time when she was here, actually, it's pretty much started with you. Because she saw some pictures of me and you on the morning show.
Was it Jim or was it Norma?
Norma.
It was Norma.
It was Norma.
Blame Norma for everything. Everything.
So we were at the morning show to have she saw it. So this was the first time I met with her. And she's like, I don't understand that. That's too much. I can accept gay people, but that's too much for me. And after she saw some pictures of the sisters, and she's like, I don't understand. This is just showing yourself up. This is nothing to do with that. I'm like, Grandma, let me give you some history lessons here. So I sat down with her, show her pictures, Googled it up for her,
Right.
how the sisters started. What was their mission during the
Right.
AIDS pandemic? How the drag queens started, how they were the biggest helps and one of the biggest supporters of the original Stonewall situations. So I showed her all of that, and took 2.5 hours to show everything and tell her what's actually the story.
You're going to be a really good attorney.
Well, I try. I will try.
Here's the evidence.
Yeah, I was doing a president's. All of the
Bring in the screens.
Bring me all of the information. I show you everything, and she was surprisingly changed her mind. I do not think I would ever see her on a drag show. I do not think I would ever see her holding hands with the sisters and walking around. But her opinion changed in a way that she even told me, she's like, but all of these are amazing. I'm like, you see, Grandma, that's the issue.
Because you educated her.
Yes.
And that's the thing with the gentleman on the street when you walked out to get, because you were hungry, I had to say it. The same thing. If the gentleman knew who you were, but he didn't, so he made judgment right away.
Yes.
And not just in the queer community. We do that. Everybody does that. I don't understand what they don't know. You know, why is she all wrapped in a sheet in her head?
Yeah, it's not just.
That's not America. Well, yes, it is. It's. You just don't understand it. You just don't understand it.
Yeah.
So, and the premise, and you have more questions, but I want to make a real quick point. No matter who you are in your life, if you're queer or you're non-queer, if you're a duck or a horse, it doesn't matter. Make yourself known. Make people know you're not afraid. We have become a society where we hide behind our phones, and it's like, put the phones down, go out, and hey, how you doing? Good to see you. You don't have to know someone to acknowledge them. Nod and smile. Nod and smile. You know, hello, hello. Years ago, my husband and I went to New Orleans right after Katrina, and that town was devastated. But there was a vibe that is in that town that I absolutely love. I've never felt so welcome. Everyone, from the porters, from anybody that we ran into, deli workers, bartenders, hotel people, anybody, people just on the street, how y'all doing? They didn't know who we were, but there was that level of, you're in our environment. Acknowledge. And I try every day when I go out, if I'm just going to the store or the thrift store or whatever, how are you doing? To take my, even sometimes I will admit I force it, but you have to, because we are in there's such a heavy gray cloud, not literally, well today there is, but that you need a little bright sunshine.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm grabbing your hand like an old lady. I got to tell you the story. It's going to be a while. Get a coffee. So I recently had my 40th class reunion. Yes, I'm that old. And I was hesitant. I planned the last 3 big reunions I've planned from Las Vegas, and the events were in Ohio. Easy breezy. I went back. I was hesitant to fly back. One, because of the environment I was going into. I knew probably 70% of the individuals I was reuniting with, had probably voted for the man, that person. I don't like saying the name. And I accept that.
The orange Cheeto.
Yeah. Orange Cheeto. I don't know why you did that, but that's okay.
The orange Cheeto.
I accepted that. But I was hesitant because, like, why am I going back to celebrate what we had in 1985 with these people? Because in 1985, these people, we had a very small class, 95 kids. These people were my family. We knew everybody. I could go through my yearbook and name pretty much everybody there, but maybe 4 people. That's why I was doing it, because that's who I am. They helped me be the person I am today. So I was hesitant at that. And second, I had not been back to Ohio since my mother had passed. That I went. And at the reunion, I was the student body president, so I had to do my little speech. I came out to my class 40 years later. I told them exactly what I just said. I was hesitant to come back because my mother had just passed, my father just passed. It was hard for me to be back. I know, and I said this in front of everybody, I know a lot of you individuals are opposed and don't agree with my lifestyle or who I've become, and I accept that because that's your opinion. Your opinion of me does not matter to me. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't matter because everybody leads their own life. And then I got real quiet and I said, I want to say something to everyone in this room because you all knew before I knew. I said, I would have come out much earlier. I said, you all knew I was gay before I knew I was gay. And it broke the ice. Everybody started laughing. And I said, if you would have told me then what I know now, and it kind of broke the ice. And I had a couple people come up to me afterwards and say, thank you for saying that, because it was like the elephant in the conversation. I'm like, I don't come talk to you about your straight world, but why wouldn't you feel that you could come up to me and say, how are you doing? You know, is there anybody in your life? We were best friends 40 some years ago. Why? Well, you know, it's because they were uncomfortable with it. I opened the door and said, here I am. I'm transparent. Come ask me any questions. Now, mind you, I'm not going to tell everything, but I've given them the invitation to be, this is who I am now. I accept it. Maybe you don't accept it. That's fine. That's your business, not mine. The few people who did come up to me, they made it worth my while doing that. So maybe on that street in Hungary, if you would have acknowledged it, he would have turned around and said, I like your suit. Where'd you get it? That's why I really made the comment. And then you would have had a cocktail or two later on. You know, that's my brain thinking.
That's a positive issue. I think I would get beat up.
That's my heated rivalry ending to that scenario. Yes, I said it.
Yeah, that's a romantic version of how this can happen. My version was, I'm going to get beat up if I say something back.
Back to your questions, it's like those Tennessee lawmakers are afraid. They're afraid. They've put their lives in this little box. There's a gentleman, a politician from Texas, that recently has been in the news. And I can't remember his name, but he was on Stephen Colbert the other night. Made a world of a difference. Christian gentleman. I love my Christian people. But he made a point of saying that there are two people, Jesus said. And I'm a follower of all religions, a believer of none, or a believer of all and a follower of none. He made a point that really... Representative James Tellerico made a point of saying, Jesus said you need to do two things. Love thy neighbor and love God. Love God.
Yeah.
What is your God? I love my God. I'm very spiritual. There is a higher power. I don't know. I want to think it's a woman because we need that right now. But whatever God you believe in, love that energy, love that spiritual power, and love thy neighbor. I'm going to love everybody until they burn a bridge. And then at that point, then I will realize I'm not coming into your cake shop in the middle of Tennessee to support your locally owned business because you don't respect who I am. I don't need that. Great. Discriminate against me. There's enough businesses I can go to other places. Do I think it's right? No. Do I think it's poking the bear? 100%. Look here. I'm going to do this. Look here, I'm going to do that. Okay, what's your next question?
To your point on that one, I think Yeah, they do poking the bear, but how do I say this? You're taking it in a really more higher level of thinking, but that's probably come with your age.
100%. 100%. 100%.
Your experience, you try to do the nice. I'm still in my fight mode.
Well, don't get me wrong. I still have a fight. But I realize I analyze things. I'm not going to go out and protest Donald Trump. And it's not saying people who do. I mean, on President's Day, there was a heck of a protest, the fingers up protest in New York City, which I absolutely loved. I probably would have done that. However, every time I put on Norma in drag, that's my protest. Every time I walk from a public parking space in full drag across the parking lot into the establishment, when I park in the parking garage. Caesar's Palace. This was huge. I did an event at Caesar's Palace, and I usually have somebody when I'm in that big of a public space. I usually have somebody come with me. My escort that night, my personal escort that night canceled out. So I'm like, Caesar's, I can do this. Parked in a parking garage, and if you know Caesar's, it's like walking like 5 football fields to get to the ballrooms from the parking lot. You literally park, and you have to go all the way through and all the way through and all the way up. I was like, I can do this. I did it in full drag. What I was worried about was, oh my God, it's just people are going to make noise, blah, blah, blah. I had to tell people, no, I can't do pictures now. I became the Disney princess, yeah. It was a lot of fun, but that's my protest every day. Now, I've been part of protests, the no hate, the everything, but I choose to take the higher ground because I think a lot of times when people go out to fight, there's a negative to it. It's like, oh yeah, I would much rather sit back and vote.
Always vote.
Spend my Norma tips and support those who are running for office that need my dollars and go forth. I just wrote a check to Mayor Pete recently because I still have hope with Mayor Pete, but. That's my protest.
But you guys already did so much. I think your generation fought the way for us where we are right now here for years and years and years and years. So taking sometimes, I think what you guys do, it's amazing to take the high road sometimes. But I do encourage my generation, actually the younger generation, that you can take the high road sometimes. But it's our turn to take the
100%. I
fight
100%.
From you guys. And we are the one who need to raise our voice, go out, don't let these things happen, talk about this law, and protest against the law. Because if we are quiet, and we just always take the high road, and if we stay quiet, and we don't do anything, this generation, because we grew in, to be fair, my generation here in the United States, not me per se, because I came from a country where it's unacceptable, so I have a different mental knowledge about how to fight these things. I did not get it on the silver platter, and that's sad to say, but this is pretty much what happened. The new generation got it in the silver platter, but we did it for them. You guys did it for them. It's nothing bad about it. You guys mostly fought the way for them to don't need to do it. They can do whatever they want in public. They usually don't get that much say. They can get married. They can adopt kids. They can be on Grindr. They can do whatever they want because there's not that much hate. They still hate, but not that much hate as you guys needed to push through.
So I want to jump in. I don't think it's just the queer community. We became complacent.
Exactly.
As a world and a society, we became complacent and very comfortable with where we were. And the current administration, when they jumped in the first time, ruffled things up. The United States is now currently experiencing what a lot of the countries around the world have experienced their whole existence. We've literally joined the rest of the world.
Yes.
And a lot of them don't know what the hell to do. Get out, protest, vote, make your voices heard. Your generation has done a lot, but they've become complacent. Yeah. And that's because the world has become complacent. We sit with our phones. Instead of going to a meeting in person, we sit at our phones okay, we're in the meeting. No, you're not. You're on the meeting. It says you're there at the meeting, but you're watching this on TV. You're writing your notes here. You're not in tune. When you put everything down and you become in tune and physically go to a meeting or a rally or a protest or an activity that involves the community, whether it's a queer community or not, then you're getting involved.
Yes.
You're getting involved. I believe organized religion in a way is good for our community because it pulls people, it gives them a sense of belief, whatever that belief is. Yeah. Same thing with community clubs. I grew up in a time, I was born in the late 60s and 70s. My grandparents went to their community club, and it was a meeting once a month about the community. It wasn't a neighborhood organization like HOA. It wasn't HOA, but it was a community meeting in these small little towns. You'd go to the town hall. The ladies would bring desserts. The gentlemen would be out back drinking whiskey and smoking cigars. And then they would have a little town meeting. And it would be addressing, thanks to Bob who trimmed all the trees in the park and blah, blah, blah. We miss that now. Do you know who your neighbors are? You live in an apartment or a house?
No, I live in a townhouse.
Okay. Do you know your neighbors?
I don't know the name. I know who are they.
You know them to see them.
See them, yeah.
Have you ever invited your neighbors over for a cup of coffee?
Actually, to that point, not in this place when I'm living, this townhouse. 2 years ago, I moved to another one. And that was my first ever little place, so it's mine. And it's like, I was so happy.
Yep.
And my neighbors, I only had one neighbor because another was a rental property, so people just moved in and out. The other neighbors are the people I'm still talking today because I went over, they came over to it was a young couple having just a brand new little baby.
Love that.
Little girl. And we came over to each other to talk about, there's a baby, sorry if the wall is too... And I was like, we never hear anything, sorry if my Formula One gaming is way too loud for you. And they were like, no. And we started going on each other and started talking. And till today, if they need anything, they call me.
I love that. I love that.
But that's because even they said exactly what you said. We missed that. And they felt, because they were a young couple with the children, that going to me, who was in that age, with my roommate, it felt for us that we need to start creating this little community for us. We are people, and all of us need
100%.
Some help sometimes.
And that's where, as a society, global society, we hide behind our phones.
Yes.
Put the phones down and go to your neighbor. We frequent a lot of bars because of the events that we do. I make sure if Norma's out, even Jim, more so with Norma, I make sure when I go in as that persona, I walk around, hey, how are you doing? Hey, how are you doing? Hey, how are you doing? This is what we're doing. And you do the same thing when we have the pool party. You got to know your people.
That's my Mr. Las Vegas Pride specialty.
Yeah. But
I talk to people.
when you're not in that role, in that capacity, know who your neighbors are. It doesn't. You don't have to have them for dinner every week. Just know who they are. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Whatever, but make a contact. It could be a contact, like you said, with the young couple and the baby. That still continues, even though you've moved. Make a contact to let them physically know, I'm here. I went through a diversity training years and years ago with the company I was with. And there was a thing they taught, and I think it's an African thing, but Sawabona Kona, I see you, and then the response, Sawabona Sakona, is I acknowledge being seen, I see you also, something like that. But that was the premise for the entire diversity thing.
That was beautiful, but kind of reminded me to Avatar.
Avatar?
Movie? Yeah.
I never saw Avatar, sorry. I'm old. Too
you.
spacey for me. I see you. I acknowledge you. Another thing that just came that I just used recently from that training was you do not have to be one of to stand with. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Join. If you're against the oppression from wherever that oppression is, but it doesn't affect you directly, but it affects people that you love and you cherish or don't know, but you agree with it, stand with them. You don't have to be one of. Women's rights. I'm not a woman. I don't have a uterus, but I will support them. I will fight for that for them. The trans community. And that's how it was brought up. I wrote a little something in support of Trans Day of Visibility on March 31st. Don't have to be one of to stand with. Stand with you. I support you. I see you. I acknowledge you, but I will fight for you.
But I think that's a specialty of Pride and actually the LGBTQIA plus communities, mostly that we are the people standing with everyone. I think majority of the people who are
Sometimes.
part of us, I would say majority, not all the time,
Right.
not every person, but majority of people who are joining Pride or any of the prides, not just Las Vegas Pride, any of the prides, or any of these LGBTQIA plus organizations. Yes, we are here for our own cause too. Of course, we can't say we are not, but whatever is gonna affect you, we are there for you. And I'm almost 100% sure that if tomorrow the federal government would say we outlaw Christianity, Christians are bad, we only gonna have Muslims. Let's just say it's never gonna happen, but for the hypothetical, if tomorrow the federal government would say it's illegal to be Christian, the first people who would stand up and fight for your rights to do whatever you want, it would be the gay people. It would be the Pride, would be any of the Pride organization. Because for us, it's not about, we are against oppression of any kind. Not just for us, it's for everyone. If your color, your immigration
The queer
status.
community is a melting pot.
Exactly.
You know, we are immigrants upon immigrants in that diversity, that melting pot. You know, I like to say we do a thing. Megan and I started this. We've done it 3 times already. But when we go out and table and we put our little pride tent up, we started doing a little art thing where people can paint a flower. And I was just downtown, Fremont East, art street fair thing. And I told everybody, come paint a flower. Paint a flower because it takes more than one flower, one variety of flower to make a garden. And people just love that. And young, old, little babies to fabulous artists who took up too much canvas space, but that's okay. But it created this unity that I am a part of a garden. I am part of a garden. But I think it's important when we move forth is acknowledge that we do have differences. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, but
Let
we
it
do
go.
need to.
But back to our queer community too can be sometimes our harshest critics of who we are, but in a way
Yes.
that keeps us in check. But in also a way you take 4 steps forward, and some of those make us
2
take a
steps
couple
back, yeah.
steps back. But without that, it's with any group. It's with any group.
Yes, and for that, for the younger generation, like if you want to join our fight, let's put it that way. If you want to join our fights, if you are here in Las Vegas and you listen to the podcast, every second Thursday we're gonna start tabling at UNAV. So if you want to go to the UNAV campus, you can see us there. You can join us even if you are on UNAV or not on the campus. It's a free.
Where's it at on the campus?
On the free speech area next to the hospitality building. So there's the hospitality college and you can join us, see us, sign up for our newsletters. We're going to have some fun little giveaways every time and you can hear a little more about us and you can learn how to join to our organizations here in town. So that's for that little side information for
That
you
was a
guys.
side plug. Join
plug.
now. And
Join now.
You'll receive a free performance from Melodrama.
Melodrama, it's debuting tomorrow. I'm
So
nervous.
Now I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh no.
So
I'm usually the one who asks the question.
what's your legacy going to be
As
for Las Vegas? Because I know you have. We're going to have you for a couple more years.
yes,
And then you're going to get all these fancy degrees, and you're going to finally pay off the fancy car
at the fancy college.
and you're not going to be here anymore. What is your legacy going to be?
My legacy, what I would like to be in this town, it's to change. It's gonna sound bad, but that's exactly what I want to do here. Change the view how people see sometimes this organization and think about royalties sometimes as that's royalty and there is us. Just 2 different spectrum of the LGBTQ.
Meaning your role as Mr. Las Vegas Pride.
Yeah.
Okay.
As Mr. Las Vegas Pride, my mission here is to show people that Pride, this organization, Las Vegas Pride, it's here for every single person in this town. This includes anybody who is under the umbrella, even if you are gender non-conformative, if you are transgender, even if you are still figuring it out what you would like to be or who you are exactly. We are here for you. My personal experience here in town, and that's not against pride, that's against the community sometimes,
The queer community.
the queer community, that it's way too judgy. It's way too judgy in a way that we don't invite everybody's over who is not a masculine gay guy, for example, in a gay communities, or we not.
Do you think it's just Las Vegas, or it's?
It's a problem globally, but here I was the first time I experienced that we are all for the same cause. If we have a pride event, it's not just for muscular gay guys who is dancing in a little speedos. It's not just for beautiful, this skinny, big boobs trans persons or lesbians. It's for everyone, even if you are not confirming and you are a little bit different what would be the perfect human, what sometimes this community love to push out. You are part of us, and we are here for you too. We are here for you, however you look like, wherever you come from. We don't care. That's not our job to judge. And I think that's the legacy I would like to bring, that in this podcast too, with you, and having people coming in and tell their stories, to listen, to start listening to every person who is part of this community, not just the ones who were always on the platforms to talk. Because it's always been the way that it's always the one who looks good. Get the spot to talk and tell your stories, or someone who has a lot of followers or been in the news already. It's about everyone. It's not just, this organization is not to find the next beauty queen.
I commend you with your idea of this podcast. So I've been researching a lot of podcasts. I have some of my favorites, and my favorites are those who just sit and talk, and not, oh, this is my next movie I'm in, or this is what we're talking about today. You just talk, because we have lost the art of conversation in the world.
Yep.
Because of, and I keep wanting to reach down and pick up my device because I got one of those new little things for the back.
Yeah, you're so
I got
proud
a new
of
little
this.
toy. We've lost the art of communicating and just talking. When I came out, we went to the bars to find someone to talk to, but we talked. And it's so sad when I go out, not even just to a queer establishment, but to a restaurant and see a young couple beautifully dressed up for some celebration, and they're both on their phone.
And they're on the phone, yeah.
And I think this podcast is going to be, and I'm not just giving you kudos because you're a good kid.
Sometimes.
I think a podcast format for our community is 100%, but it's got to be a right fit so people can, yes, use their device, but go, wow.
Yes.
Wow. And the people we attract when we first started doing the pool parties again,
yes,
at shameless plug, at the Sahara, which will be starting again on Memorial Day weekend.
Still the Alexandria pool?
Yeah. No, it's the other pool. But you and I both took the opportunity. The what pool? Retro pool at the Sahara, Memorial Day weekend. You and I both took the opportunity because I'm just the experience for me at the pool party. For one, a bigger guy. I don't like getting in my swim trunks around lots of people because it's a judgy thing. You're right. Even with Norma going in a full body bathing suit, it was weird for me. But the people who came to our pool party made me feel so welcome. And like you and I realized, the first 2 hours, they're nothing but tourists. And it was so wonderful to walk around, and you and I both walked around and talked to everybody. Where are you from? Where are you staying? Thank you for coming. And then the locals came in. But that was so important to me because we were making a difference in the other individuals who could have gone into the regular pool, but we had our own private pool. We had our own environment where people could be comfortable.
Yes.
And that was, to your point, to be comfortable with no judgment. Of course, people are going to, but
judge silently. Keep it for yourself.
That's human nature.
Yeah, but keep it for yourself.
Yeah.
That's my only comment to that.
The most important thing that happened to me at that pool party is there was an older lesbian couple.
I remember, yeah.
And when I say older, I'm saying not my age, but they looked older, more senior. And then they were celebrating one's birthday. They had traveled, and I believe they came from Texas. And when I was talking to them, they were both in their 80s. And you would have thought we rewound the clock for them because they were having so much fun with all the kids and all the thump thump music. They called it thump thump music, but they were all dolled up with their gold and their it was amazing to see what we created for them. And I think that's your legacy here with this podcast. That don't just talk to people you know.
Yes,
you need to pull
from everywhere.
A stranger off the street. Pull them in and let's just talk. Not necessarily a stranger, because I don't think some of the strangers in the neighborhood would be like, oh, yeah, I'll do a podcast. Can I get a Coke?
So to your point to that, I think soon, I can say it here, we're going to figure out the way how to put people who would like to be on the podcast here and talk to us. And you can tell.
No, let's give them a challenge. Get off your devices.
Come and see us at the event.
100%. 100%. Go on to LasVegasPride.org, look at our event calendar, and make sure when you find an event you want to go to, your Militan's pretty much at all the events.
I don't really have a choice, but yeah.
Yes. Go up to him. This is my challenge. I'm looking into the camera. Am I directly into the camera? This is my challenge for you. Go up to Militan when you see him out and say, I have something to say. I'd love to be interviewed. And then we'll classify that interview, because you're not going to be selling your shoes or your phone company or things like that. But we will make a point to you talk to Militan, and we'll see what we can do. We can maybe have a community hour.
Yes.
This is Bob, and this is Susan, and this is Trebella, but talk.
Yes.
Put the devices down. I did a challenge.
Be present.
100%. Be present. I did a challenge to a group I just had a meeting with, and I'm going to be very, very non-specific. And I said, this is what I want you to do next. Out of 17 people, 2 people listened to me and did what I asked them to do. And I'm like, wow, that's a really low percentage. But it's our world.
And to your point, I 100% agree with you. But not, the hands. Not every, actually the newer generations are not as much as we believe in.
Yep.
Because right now, when I was telling people, for my classmates, because everybody's younger than me, unfortunately. I'm not as young as I look like. In college, all of my classes, when I said that tomorrow on Saturday is my first drag debut, everybody was like, oh my God, we want to go to more events. Where can I see that? I want to see you do that. I want to be part of this event. Lots of straight people. None of them are pretty much part of, they are just allies. But everybody was like, we can't wait to do this because we need more space to do that. And how can I find it? And I show them the website and do that. They want to be more present. We just need to, I need you guys to share this everywhere, please.
No, it's true.
Because we need to reach more people. And if you can help us to share it, and every platform that you have, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you share this, share our podcast, share our information, because people need the space. And we just need to get them to see that there are places they can go and they can talk and they can socialize.
There's a wonderful old, wherever it came from, you tell one person, they tell another person, they tell another person, and it spreads. Barry Manilow has a song called One Voice, and it's an amazing song because he sings like, and music people, you're going to correct me, that's fine. He sings like 18 or 19 vocal parts, and it sounds like in the middle of the song like there's a full choir, but it's just him. One voice. All it takes is one voice. And we see that when, it's gone viral.
Yes.
That's the new way.
Yes.
But the more people that you can reach with this platform, that's your legacy.
That's what I would like to
That's your legacy.
So I think that's all we have time for today.
That's all?
I think we're pushing it like for another hour now.
I barely can see the time.
So thank you so much for everyone who was listening to us and watching us. Follow us on LasVegasPride.org. That's our official website. You can see all of our events, everything what we're going to do in the future. Sign up for our email chain so you can get our emails. Follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok for this podcast.
And look for the name Melodrama at a theater or bar stage near you. Melodrama.
Or Auntie Norma.
Please. She's everywhere.
But I'm going to join her in everywhere where I can as my new performance.
Good job, dude.
Good job, dude.
Dude. Dude.
Dude. What's up, bro? So,
This has been Gemini and Melatonin. See you
guys
soon.
next week.
Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo.